have to notice something quite interesting here on the channel. I wasn't expecting the Wii room tour video to get so many views as it did, and so I wondered what was my most second viewed video. Why is it the Neptunia one? To be honest, that video wasn't even something that I planned, and I just threw it together randomly. So I was like, what made that video get so many views? Was it because it had the word crack in the title? This Overwatch video had crack in the title. Okay, 130 views. But then so did these other videos, so I can probably rule out it wasn't because of the word crack. Well, I guess we'll never know. But I do have another Neptunia video for you. For those of you that don't know, Hyperdimension Neptunia is a series of games that take place in the world of game industry, which is divided into 4 nations that are each ruled by 1 CPU. Noir from Last Station, Blanc from Louis, Vert from Leanbox, and our series' main protagonist, Neptune from Planeptune. If you couldn't tell, each region represents a video game console, Neptune referring to the cancelled Sega Neptune. In the beginning of the story, the 4 goddesses are fighting each other for shares in a war known as the Console War. Shares are the manifestation of the belief citizens put into their goddess, and without shares, a goddess dies. And based on the game's title, other games are set in different dimensions or timelines. I straight up read that off the wiki page, so if you want to know more about the games, I suggest doing some research. There is also a 12-episode anime based on all the games, which is very entertaining and I highly recommend. You don't even have to play the games in order to watch. One reason I love Neptunia is that it can be super meta at times with the most hilarious dialogue and is packed full of references ranging anything from other games, anime, and pop culture. The purpose of today's video is to beat the first Neptunia game without even using Neptune, which is funny because the game is incredibly insistent Neptune is the main character and she won't forget to remind you.
Introductory graphic text? What the heck, developers? I didn't get one when I appeared.
Unfortunately, we can't avoid Neptune completely as she is still in the story and dialogue, but we can remove her from battle and the party as a whole. And with that out of the way, let's get into it.
What is that?
To compensate for the lack of Neptune, I have some DLC that will give us 2 characters to use a little later. They are technically from other Neptunia games, so this isn't really cheating. Our story begins with the 4 goddesses fighting each other in some magical realm. Blackheart, Whiteheart, and Greenheart pull a 1v3 and blast Purpleheart out of the sky. Neptune falls back to game industry so hard that she loses her memory and we run into a friendly nurse named Kampa who we frolic around with. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this. One thing about this game is that it's literally chocked full of a lot of fan service at points, so just beware. Sometimes these little dialogue things come up and reading them can give you items or plans. I will explain those more later. You will also get tutorial things to read that will help you learn how to play the game. Really quick, these are the stats, health, skill points, how powerful we are, defense, magical power, magic defense, how often we have turns to attack, attack accuracy, which is actually landing hits, chance to get critical hits and avoid attacks, and range we can move on the battlefield. Anyway, we go along with Kampa and start beating up some cute little doggoos. This is our battlefield with our little hitbox in front of us. Different weapons can change this hitbox and only certain people can use specific weapons. We have 3 basic attacks, Rush, Power, and Break. We won't worry about Rush right now since it's kind of pointless in the beginning. Power is a basic attack, and if we look at our enemy stats up here, we can see a guard point meter. Break attacks help with lowering that meter, and when the enemy's guard is broken, we can do more damage. We also have our SP skills that we can unlock more of as we level up. Important note, even though we aren't using Neptune, she will still level up because XP in this game is divided to everyone regardless if you use them or not. Lovely Final Fantasy reference. And now back to the story. After walking around, we suddenly fall through the floor into this cave where we get some of the best dialogue in the game.
What? Where's that event flag-inducing growl coming from? Nap nap! There's a huge monster over there! Please help me! Oh no, Kampa! She's being censored and censored! I'm not being censored! I'm just off screen, Nap Nap! Oh, you know fan service. Well, time to get a bit more serious now.
Here we run into a bit of a problem. Since Kampa is being held hostage, we're kind of forced to use Neptune. After this, she'll go back to being basically non-existent in our playthrough, so this won't count. Once we kill the big scary monster, we leave and now we can access the guild where we can do quests to get money and items for completing them. Don't worry about this unless you care about what ending you get, but since that isn't important to what we're doing, we're ignoring it. We'll just accept all these quests and head back into the dungeon we were in, and here we run into someone. This is IF, aka Iffy, and she works for the guild. What's more important about Iffy is that she joins our party and she's just another person to use besides Neptune. Now, Iffy is a bit of a glass cannon. She can be good at times, but ultimately she'll end up being replaced later. Before we do what we're supposed to do in the dungeon, I'm going to kill some of these enemies for a quest. Really? Oh my, what is that health? The monster from earlier that almost killed Compa shows up and now it's our turn to kill it. Then some random lady comes in and claims she knows who Neptune is, even though Nep over here has amnesia from bonking her head at the beginning. We try fighting her, but this is a scripted event, so she's going to off us immediately. A voice out of nowhere starts talking to Neptune about transforming into her goddess form, and so she Power Ranger morphs up and we fight the purple lady again. Except Neptune just kind of floats there awkwardly because we don't use her. We manage to beat the eggplant lady and she disappears. She's important to the plot, so don't forget about her. The disembodied voice that spoke to us is someone named Histoire who can tell Neptune about who she is since she lost her memory. But in order to get to Histoire, we need to go around and collect these things called key fragments to free her. So that's basically our main objective. Leaving the dungeon, we can now access our DLC characters Plutia and Pishi, who are actually from the third game. They won't even show up in any sort of events or dialogue in this game. But now we can really kick Neptune out of the party. At this point, we head on over to Planet Neptune's neighboring country, Last Station. We're looking for Noir in Last Station, but nobody's being helpful, so we just kind of wander off. A literal queen right here, best girl. She's literally a goddess. If you couldn't tell, I'm extremely biased towards Noir. Noir comes back from some stuff, and the staff let her know that Neptune has been there. She gets a little triggered and then goes looking for us. We walk through this place beating up monsters because, you know, grinding. Here we can see a new thing we can use, our EXE drive. These are basically really powerful moves we can use if this gauge is filled. As we go through the game, this gauge will go from 1 to 4. Remember rush attacks from earlier? Rush attacks fill this bar quicker than other attacks. This is another important thing I will explain later. Anyway, we get to the end of the dungeon where some big monster comes along that we kill before running into Noir, our first major boss fight. Helpful tip here, spacing people like this is quite effective in battle as enemies' hitboxes can target multiple people. My best girl, Noir, is sadly defeated very quickly, and Neptune interrogates her to find out where the goddess of Last Station is. Okay. Forgot about that. Neptune lost her memory, so she's clearly oblivious. Noir kinda just fakes her identity and joins up with us even though we beat the crap out of her. A bunch of stuff goes down in Last Station involving this manufacturing company, Avenir, that is creating a monopoly within other industries. Noir is obviously mad because she is losing shares, so she hasn't been able to do much about it. We go to one of their factories where we kill a thing, where the rest of us learn that Noir is actually the goddess of Last Station. I know, big shocker. And then we are ambushed by a giant killer robot fittingly named Killishin. Wow, how original. Please don't kill Noir. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my gosh, no! Clearly, I was underprepared, so I took a moment to do some more guild quests and grinding. I also gave everyone, except Neptune, some better equipment. As you can see here, I switched Compa out for Pluti because Pluti can also heal, and later on she will unlock a skill that will heal 75% of health. She becomes the ultimate healer after we burn a specific disc for her. In equipment, you can give people discs that you burn with idea chips that will give you little add-ons. You usually find these in dungeons or get them through guild quests. Later, I give Pluti this one, which restores SP on her turn, which basically means she can infinitely heal. But now we can properly beat up Killishin. Once that mess is taken care of, Noir leaves our party to do some things, so we head on over to Leanbox. We run into the goddess Vert, who is actually a hardcore gamer with some great personalities. She invites us to have a banquet with her for some reason. I don't really know, I forgot to get footage of this dialogue. Some staff member is bribed by some evil person that works for the purple lady we fought back in Last Station to try and kill Neptune. At the banquet, Neptune just gets straight up poisoned by the staff guy, and now we have to try and get an antidote before she dies. Luckily, Vert knows just what to do, and we have to go kill a monster to get an ingredient so we can make the antidote. So we do that and end up saving Neptune. Yay! We might as well have just let her die since we're not even using her. I did some more grinding here just so I can level up and be prepared for our next boss fight. Going back to Leanbox, we learn that some servant of Vert's is in danger. We go try and rescue her where we run into R4, Purple Lady from the beginning. We fight her since she's holding Vert's servant captive, and we just kind of smack her a bunch till we win. R4 does a sketchy thing and ends up stealing some of Vert's goddess powers and transforms into a copy of her. It is, yet again, another scripted event where we die immediately. Vert isn't taking any of her crap and goes Super Saiyan, and we beat up R4 before she runs off. Vert thanks us for our help before we leave Leanbox since she has to do some stuff. Our next stop is Louis, where we meet the goddess Blanc before she immediately gets mad at us and issues a manhunt to kill us. We start running away, but I'm going to put a pause on this part in the story. Some stuff is about to go down, so I take some time to do more grinding. Now, remember plans from earlier? Plans allow you to add things such as items, dungeons, or weapons, or change stuff. The 3 important plans we need to unlock are weaken enemies, which I forgot we did that a bit earlier. Next is EXP up, which boosts the amount of XP we earn so we can level up really fast. The way to get EXP up is to find it as a hidden treasure in the Louis snowfield, which only 1 out of 4 hidden treasures spawn in at a time, but leaving the dungeon will reset this. So I spent a good 20 minutes going in and out of the dungeon until finally getting the plan for EXP up.
I wonder if it's a rare item.
Yes! That's what we need! Finally!
The last plan we need is Super EXE Drive, which builds our EXE gauge really fast. And I mean absurdly fast. Going back to rush attacks, all we do is spam those to fill our gauge and then spam EXE moves to repeat the cycle and destroy everything. Going back to the story, a bunch of Louis guards catch up to us where we have a knockoff Pokemon battle and win. Some more guards come in before some random lady that knows Neptune shows up and bails us out. One of Blanc's maids is with her and she takes us to some secret hideout. Here we run into another Blanc and it turns out the Blanc that attacked us earlier was a fake. Remember when R4 copied some of Vert's power? Yeah, same deal here. R4 is also working with Avenir, who is also working with Louis, so a real problem triangle is happening here. Crap is going down in the city where we go and find fake Blanc. The real Blanc gets pissed, so insert boss fight here, which ends up being Kilashine Mark II. We beat up the stupid robot, and fake Blanc gets away, and we team up with the real Blanc to help save Louis. We go to Last Station to try and find Noir so she can help us, but we end up running into Avenir again. And guess who we have to fight? That's right, Kilashine Mark III. We beat it up for the 3rd time, and Neptune thinks it was hard even though she didn't do anything. Enemy robots keep coming at us, and it's starting to get a bit overwhelming. A giant explosion happens, and another best girl comes in. Best girl out here, Mages! Mages joins up with us, but we don't really use her, where we fight yet another Kilashine.
I'm ready anytime.
That wasn't really a problem. So we go back to Louis in the totally not a blatant Zelda reference snowfield, where we run into R4 and more things try and kill us.
Shall I do to you?
They were pretty easy to kill, and Blanc and Vert leave our party for a hot minute while we destroy some more things. They weren't really difficult to kill, and Mages full on does a JoJo pose afterwards. R4, who is currently fake Blanc, is about to kill us when real Blanc and Vert come back to help us, so we can just wreck her face.
Anytime. Are you ready?
May I begin?
This can't level.
Being the coward that she is, R4 runs off again. With the problems in Louis being temporarily solved, we go on back to Last Station to find Noir. Avenir is still causing problems, so we do some stuff before going to a weapons expo that Avenir will be at. Noir is trying to show off how cool Last Station is with this expo, but nobody really gives a crap and they're more interested in other things.
What's the matter? Did you find something interesting? A swag booth. I'm going to take a look. Was that what you were looking at? Oh, then I want an energy-charged, turquoise-haired, futuristic idol singer.
Avenir is only here to promote their technology when suddenly an exhibition match breaks out and we fight one of their giant robots. And no, it's surprisingly not the Kilashine this time. But we can't really do anything to it since it's another scripted event. Our goddesses wonder what they should do when we get another character introduced, Marvelous AQL, or Marvy for short. She joins us, but we don't really use her. Just like Neptune, she is shoved out of the party. We fight the robot again and win and go back to Planet Neptune where we need to find a secret dungeon because I think at this point we have all the key fragments to free Histoire. We go to the dungeon we were at the very beginning of the game and find a secret path that takes us to this weird place that looks nothing like the cave we were just in. Don't really know how that works. Getting through the dungeon, we run into R4, where she basically set up a trap because she knew we would be coming for Histoire. She is also trying to steal some of Neptune's powers since she did that to the other goddesses. I don't know, kind of pointless R4, it's not like I'm even using Neptune. Anyway, Neptune transforms along with everyone else because I guess she needs to feel helpful while offering moral support while she sits on the sidelines. Insert boss fight with R4 and Kilashine. Oh wait, that's not the Kilashine. It's just a reused model with a different name this time. Anyway, it's just going to wreck us since it's a scripted event. Neptune acts hurt even though she wasn't even in this fight, and Compa sneaks around and snatches Histoire from R4. As we try and escape, R4 throws another boss at us called Momus. It turns out that Momus is an evil god she created so she can try and get rid of the goddesses. Like any of that matters to us as we kill it, but actually Momus just revives, leaving us in kind of an oh crap moment. Marvy throws a smoke bomb so we can all escape back to Planet Neptune where we free Histoire. And now, the only thing Neptune was ever good for in this playthrough, talking.
Previously on Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1, Nep and friends gather the 4 fragments and locate Isti. But the old lady was there and took my power. Isti was used to make Overlord Momus. Is this the end? No! We find a way to get Isti and escape out of danger. Back at Compa's room, we finally break the seal and Isti appears.
Histoire talks to us about some important lore stuff, and we find out that R4 is actually the mother of all the goddesses. Everyone seems really shook by it, especially Blanc.
My DNA is denying it. Wow. Please do not leave.
I get it! Suddenly, the goddesses get a call saying there are fake versions of them in their countries. That's obviously a problem, but before we go, Histoire tells us about some ancient weapons we can use to defeat Momus after we take care of the fake copies of everyone. Vert, Noir, and Blanc leave to go back to their countries, so we go kill the fake Neptune, which real Neptune acts horrified that she would have to beat herself up, even though she didn't. Some more fake Neptunes show up, and I choose to use Falcom and Marvy here because they're kind of OP. Oh yeah, Falcom is some girl you meet way earlier in Last Station and end up running into later. We end up roasting them and figure we should go to the other countries to help. Since we're at high levels thanks to our plan booster, we kill the fake Vert in about 20 seconds.
May I begin?
I can't believe...
Vert stays behind in her country as we head on over to Last Station where fighting the fake Noir is one of the easiest things ever.
The dust.
Noir doesn't come with us because she obviously has stuff to do, so we go to Louis where the real and fake Blanc are playing a trivia game to find out who the real one is. Fake Blanc answers all of the embarrassing questions correctly, which peeves the other Blanc, letting us know she is the real deal because of her vulgar language. Fake Blanc runs off and we chase her through a dungeon I decided to grind in a bit.
You.
Really, Blanc? Oh my gosh. Then we proceed to absolutely wreck the fake Blanc. During all of that, we actually managed to find the ancient weapons that Histoire mentioned earlier. Momus is causing problems in Planet Neptune where we go beat him up and the goddesses take a second to power up. Histoire gets just a little ambitious with her words as we fight Momus again and finally defeat him. After that, we travel to this place called Celestia where we can track down R4 and finally kill her after all this time. Here is where we take another pause. I wanted to make sure I was really prepared for this boss fight, so I spent some time here grinding a bit, aka waiting for this one dragon to respawn so I can kill it over and over and over again. Finally, we can begin the final fight against R4. Neptune acts so confident that she's going to beat her that it's almost sad. Too bad she'll be sitting out of this fight like all of the others. Anyway, we kill her pretty easily.
May I begin?
I will not let you have it your way. I will have you... Me? Lose?
And that's where the second health bar comes in with R4's final form.
Who's next?
to bite
All
the dust.
will be destroyed.
I'll show you my sword skills as CPU of Blast Station. Perish!
With our stupidly high levels and EXE moves, defeating her isn't a problem in the slightest. Disappointing, yet also satisfying.
It's been a while since the battle against R4. After the feast at Kompa's room, everyone returned back to their lands. Let's take a look at how everyone is doing.
How about no? And so, with R4 and Momus finally defeated, we have finished Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1 without using Neptune. I almost expected some kind of funny achievement for not using Neptune, but sadly there wasn't one. There were times I legitimately forgot Neptune existed until she would have some dialogue or had to show up for story purposes. Needless to say, beating the game without Neptune was surprisingly easy. I feel like some games purposefully make the main character powerful and always give them good stats, but this wasn't really the case. There was only one part in the beginning that we were forced to use Neptune, but we didn't really have a choice. In conclusion, it looks like you can easily beat Rebirth 1 without using the main character Neptune.
The ambush was a success! Let's get this over with!
Let's get this over with! I literally
Wait
have
a
been hearing
little
this
bit more.
non-stop for 3 days now.